Hello, everybody, and welcome to Music Industry Insights Worldwide. Today, we've got the awesome Shaquille with us. Hi, Shaquille, how are you?
Hi Saskia, how are you? And thank you for having me.
Very well, thank you, and thank you so much for coming along. Do you want to tell the listeners a little bit more about yourself, where you're from, and what you do?
Um, okay, my name is Sakhile Mavimbela, and my stage name is Flameboy Universe. I'm from Swaziland, currently based in Johannesburg, South Africa.
Lovely.
Yeah,
That's very nice. And how's South
and
Africa treating you right now? And what do you do in South Africa?
well, South Africa is great. It's a very great country, you
Yeah.
know. Well, I'm a music producer. I'm an artist. I'm a songwriter, and I do some little bit of uh, music industry consulting on the side,
So what kind of
and
genre,
I try to help. Hello?
what kind of genres do you cover as well when you're doing your music producing and your songwriting?
Oh, okay. Well, from hip hop, rap, rock and roll, R&B, reggae. I'm a piano.
Lovely.
It's actually like a lot. So
Very
like
nice.
I'm basically like a diverse producer and artist.
Yeah, yeah. And what's it like over in South Africa at the moment? How is that diversity? How is that representation? And how do you find yourself in the music industry? Is it growing? What's going on over there?
Well, it's gradually growing, I can say.
Yeah.
Uh, you know, yeah, it's gradually growing, and the industry, I can say it's shaping up pretty well, you
Hmm.
know, and especially with the digital age that we're in, like there's access to like information,
Hmm.
and that I think is actually like contributing to the growth of the industry,
Yeah.
not only in South Africa, also like in Swaziland where I'm actually from, I can actually like see the growth, gradually
Brilliant.
it's getting there as much as a lot of work still needs to be done, but we can see that the outcomes are bound to be very positive.
It's really nice to hear that actually. You're in an emerging market. What's the infrastructure like? Is the networking building up? Is the educational system building up? How is the kind of, behind the scenes stuff going on in South Africa at the moment? And what have you been up to?
Okay. Um, well, the infrastructure, again, it's gradually growing. We have a lot of individuals and organizations that have dedicated themselves in growing the industry, and I'm in contact with a couple of them. I actually like work with a couple of them, and I can see the good work that they're doing, and I can actually say that in the next maybe 5 years from now, the industry is going to be way 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 ahead of where it is right now, and from where we come from, looking at what how far we've come. You can actually see that there are people that are really, really pushing behind the scenes to make things happen for the African Southern African industry, I may say.
I love that. So name a few organizations that you've got over there at the moment, because some of the listeners might not understand or might not know. We will also might want to
Okay.
break with some of you artists. So how would we go about doing that?
Okay. So some of the organizations that I've worked with include Sony Music Publishing.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes. I'm also like a songwriter and music producer for Sony Music Publishing. And
Yeah.
then we have an organization called Music in Africa.
Lovely.
It's doing pretty amazing work with like assisting African musicians with information sharing, and exposing them to some parts of like the industry sectors abroad, so they're really really doing a great job in that.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's really something I can say as far as I'm concerned.
I love that. And South Africa is a very creative country. Now, did you get
Hmm.
into music from a passion? Did you have an education? how did your career start in the industry?
Okay, well, so I can say that I'm what we call, I don't know if it's a word, but I'm what we call like a self-taught.
Oh, that,
I got inspiration, from a very early age, just from the type of material that I was exposed to then, as a kid, if I may say, like, so grabbed inspiration from that, and then started experimenting, with different sounds and all of that. And honestly, I would say that that journey was amazing, and as amazing as it is right now, because the opportunities were there somehow,
yeah.
just to keep on exploring,
Oh,
until I got to where I am right now.
and that's not easy, is it? You've got to get equipment, you've got to get expertise, you've got to get
Yeah.
infrastructure behind you. So, being from a market that's emerging at the moment, how important is it to
Mhm.
find the right people with the right knowledge and also get money to back up
Yeah.
what you're trying to do? Because it is sometimes it starts as a hobby or as a passion, but then you build that into a business. So, how have you found that?
Okay. Yeah. From my experience, and with the people that I've worked with, um, I can say is what I can say is it's very important to actually be, try to be true to what you're doing,
Awesome.
because that's what actually gives you the fuel of going on and moving forward.
Yeah.
I think that's the first element, because now, obviously there's a lot of other things that, like, you need to like put together, like, as you said, like from the equipment, like the finances and all of that, you
Yeah.
know those are always going to be there actually with all the industries everywhere in the world, so it's important to actually be true to what you're doing, because I think that attracts everything else that you need. Honestly, I would say that, because you know, um, um, you definitely can't have it everything right. You know what I mean? You just need to just stick to that thing that you know best, and then that is going to like develop into something that's going to attract the all the other essentials that you need.
Yeah.
That's what happened with me. That's how everything came together with myself.
Well done. It's really nice to hear, actually. And obviously, having the infrastructure, having equipment, having the skills that you've built up, how
Mhm.
has that taken you to get to where you are right now? And did you have any issues or barriers facing the music industry when you were trying to get in?
Well, yes, um, yes, those have always been there,
Yeah.
and I'm just grateful that I had encouraging people around me, like positive people around me, that would actually just like just push me and push me towards, where I wanted to go.
Yeah.
So with that, it's always about first staying positive. Staying positive is very, very important, because whenever you need to introduce what you do, for instance, to other people that maybe have mere understanding about it, you first need to be positive about it, and so that they can see,
Yeah.
so I can encourage positivity and the like the interest in networking. It's very, very important. You need
Really.
to try and put yourself out there. I don't mean I don't mean that you have to be all over the place and all, but you just need to be willing to meet a few people here and there, because you never know. There's no specific formula of doing it, if I can say, unless it has reached that professional or corporate level, where everything works according to plan. But from the
Yeah.
beginning, like in the beginning, you definitely would not have access to that. So you need those core values to
Yeah.
put you to the next level,
Yeah.
and that's all there is usually in the beginning. It's like you just need to have those core values.
Yes,
Yeah,
the authenticity, which you've already touched on. But I also want to touch on
exactly.
something else. And how did you actually get to that place where you found somebody from a corporation that's a well-known corporation across the world to support the work that you're doing to take you to that
Okay.
next? How did that happen?
Okay. so what happened was my manager and I, we
Yeah.
first like spent a couple of years studying the industry, like before we even touched anything, we just dedicated ourselves in trying to like get as much information as possible.
Okay.
We would like uh look for contacts and follow other like music industry practitioners, and we would just try to mimic some of what they were doing. We would get it wrong sometimes, and then as we went ahead, we would get it right. It's a matter of what we were exposed to at that time was actually being able to see what others are doing and
Yeah.
try to convert that into something that could work for us. You know what I mean?
Brilliant.
Whatever strategy that we saw, reading, research, and endless research. Actually endless research, trial and error,
Yeah.
until we got the right contacts. Of which this time around, what happened was for instance, we put together like a performance, right? So we put together a little performance and then we recorded it, and then we used that material to use to like knock on these doors.
Yeah.
And we eventually found someone who was connected to someone who was connected to somewhere, you
Okay.
know?
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah. So definitely that's how we did it. Only to find out, even like after we were, like we went further, we were like, in a better position. That
Mhm.
was still the tradition. It just never stops. It's a matter your network is your net worth,
That's
so
completely true. And it's all about hard
yeah,
communication. I'm building those meaningful relationships because I think a lot of
yeah.
people think about that, right? They think, okay, we can make
Hmm.
music. The barriers might be a bit lower than they used to be because anyone can make music now. But it's about
Yeah,
relationships and getting out there, meeting people, but also
absolutely.
collaboration. Now, how important has collaboration been to you as well, Shaquille, to get to where you are right now?
Oh, it has been, like I think it's one of the pillars of my career right now.
Yeah.
Um, there was a year, I think that was 3 years ago, or actually it was before COVID. That's when like I was collaborating with almost everyone.
Yeah,
Oh
it can be tiring.
yeah, almost yeah. So I was collaborating with almost everyone, and that's when I actually got to meet like the key people, in the African industry, also in the music industry abroad. You
Mhm.
know, so that's how I got to build those networks, and then also, you know, uh, being part of the apps like LinkedIn, that's where like I met a lot of people there,
Yeah,
So yeah.
that's brilliant. And how do you find South Africa's doing on a global stage? Now, you're part of a big
Okay.
continent, a big continent. Africa's a massive continent in the world. How do you think you're comparing to the rest of Africa and then on the global stage? What's going on?
Yeah. So I don't know if anybody out there would have heard of a term or a name, a genre name called Amapiano. So that genre is actually from South Africa, originally from South Africa, and it's doing quite well,
Yeah,
like on a global scale, So I can say that South Africa is actually like has a very, very good potential of being out there, since I'm a piano, anything is possible right now, you
yeah.
know anything is possible right now, and it's a matter of just doing those certain right things that need to be done to get where you need to get, and I think that's where the South African industry is right now. It's quite doing okay, and there's a lot of potential, great, great potential.
And who kind of inspired you and who did you look up to? As you're coming up that ladder, as you're developing and you're trying to be yourself, but you've also got to look to people that are like yourself, that have made it in the past, right? To aspire to be like that
Yeah.
person. Who drove you to where you are right now? And where did your inspiration come from?
So my inspiration comes from some of those artists that I was exposed to through obviously media, right? So one of them, it has to be a guy called Curtis Jackson.
Oh, 50 Cent.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, Honestly, I don't usually like talk about this. I don't know, but from when it came up, I was really interested in, how how different it was, the energy. Yeah, basically the energy. That's what I picked up first before the music actually. I picked up his energy first, like the aggression, the focus, and all of that, you know what I mean? So that's what I actually like picked up. That's what I picked up, the aggression and focus and the consistency. And I was like, okay, I think you need to be really, really have an element of aggression to really get to where you want to be, you know what I mean?
Oh,
Otherwise,
you're in South Africa right now, and I think sometimes it's about survival. It's about survival,
yeah, absolutely, exactly. That's exactly, yeah,
right?
that's what I got from that guy. Like everything to him was about survival, and
Exactly. Yeah.
so that's yeah. Those are the guys that inspired me, and obviously some of our um, musicians from Africa, from the likes of Fela Kuti. Um, there's also an artist from Swaziland. He goes by the name of Bholoja. He's a
Yes.
very great musician. He has also been part of, an inspiration in my journey.
Excellent.
So yeah.
That's nice. And tell us a little bit more about the projects you've got coming up, and also being in South Africa right now. It's changed a lot over the years. Do you face a lot of discrimination? Do you find that you're accepted? Do you find that you're being welcomed into an industry that's not always been welcoming for different people?
Mhm. Well, yeah. It's South Africa has been great to me,
Oh, brilliant.
And also, I think what has really, really helped me was understanding that the attitude in which you use towards, approaching something is very important,
Yes,
you know,
it is.
in general, you know. Yes,
Yeah,
I understand that sometimes the situation could be a little bit extreme for other people, but as for myself, I really haven't uh come across any friction of some sort,
to hear that.
and yeah, I've been working like with great people that are very, very supportive, and then they just love music. That's one thing about them. Like South Africans love music. Like they love everything that says music. You know what I mean? And in general, they're just like very welcoming people. And obviously when they sense that you're just like a good person, a transparent person, then
Yeah,
it's easy.
yeah.
Yeah, and I really like rely on a positive outlook of everything.
I love
I think it's the shortest cut. Being positive is a shortcut. That's all I can say.
it is a shortcut, but sometimes it can be hard work, as you know. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
absolutely. Absolutely. They say when you do something that you love, it doesn't feel like you're working. So I've never found it like that.
Yeah,
I've
I
never felt,
no, I
yeah,
don't working. It's just that it's just something I love, and I'm looking at the time. I'm like, oh my goodness, has time gone that quickly? It's just something, when you're into an environment that you really enjoy. Time flies when you're having fun.
exactly.
Yeah.
Mm.
And talk about social media now in South Africa. I don't know what it's like over there. Is the infrastructure built enough for you to always spend time on social media? Do you have outlets or programs that you can go on to that support you with social media education? How does that work?
So, yeah, so social media is the social media infrastructure over here. I think it's fair enough, It's
Good.
really fair enough because we've got access to almost all the platforms that are available all
Yes.
over the world, you know what I mean? So it's a matter of getting to know which one is right for what you want to do, you know what I mean? Yes, like yeah, everything is actually like available.
Mhm.
Everything is actually available, I think the same information that is available, like for instance all over across the world, most of it is also available here. So it's a
But
matter of sharing, it's a matter of just like sharing, because we don't have like I don't know, maybe I don't know, but we don't have like let's say maybe platforms that focus on sharing like these other platforms with you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So for now, I think it's just a matter of just like being out there looking for what you need and all of that, and then obviously trying to figure out how it works and all of that. But slowly and surely, I think that is going to be available for everyone to everyone soon enough.
I think that's great advice. And I also think it's about understanding who your
Yeah,
audience is and how you're going to reach
absolutely.
in the right way, because not everyone's audience is on one platform, and understanding how
Yeah,
platforms work and who's on those platforms,
yeah,
it really, really helps, doesn't it?
yeah,
Hi, Tim.
absolutely.
Hi, Tim. Sorry that you're a little bit late. We've already started the show, but it's so nice to see you and thank you for joining us. Me and Shaquille are just having this little chat right now, and we're having a great little talk. So, Shaquille, do you want to talk a little bit more about how you feel being in the music industry? Has it affected your mental health? Has it affected your income? And how has your family found you in the music industry? And, sometimes there's a lot of pressure based on, can you pay the bills? Can you do this? Can you do X, Y, and Z? How have you found that?
Okay. So we like with my friends and some family, we usually have like discussions about that,
Yeah.
and what I usually like we discuss with some of the guys that I work with is that, with with being a musician, or a crafter, you definitely have to eventually set up like a team, you know what I mean? But
Yeah.
then but then that's not something that you can have first go, especially when you're still starting out. Everything you do everything yourself, So it's definitely challenging here and there,
Mhm.
For instance, making one song could take say 7 days, like 7 full days.
That's pretty quick, considering some people take longer.
Exactly. Well, yeah, I would say 7 days is like the minimum, just, you know. So yeah, so if that happens, then it means for 7 days you're focusing on creating something that is maybe still far from being a final product. And then
Yeah.
at the same time, you've got bills that are piling up every hour and every second. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's very, very difficult when you're still in those stages. And, you know, but then again, I always come back to the whole thing of being positive, and like, because some things are just beyond us, some things are just beyond us,
Yeah.
and you just have to find a way and fighting through, you know. That's the best that I could I could say about that, But it's, and then with my family has been very supportive. They've been very supportive, and another thing is that I'm also like a very open-minded person, so I also have like some side gigs that I have, outside of music, you
Mhm.
know just to try and manage the situation. And I won't lie, with when it comes to that, there's a bit or enough that is lost, especially when you're doing something that is not, like, connected to what you do in the music and all of that. Yeah,
Yeah.
there's a lot that can be lost there. But again, I mean, we live in a world of sacrifices, so
Tell
we
me
just
about it.
eventually have to make that work.
Tell me about it. And that's another thing when let's talk about the sacrifice, because a lot of people don't understand this unless you're in the game skill, right?
Mm.
You've got an old world, you've got the world that you're used to. You're trying to get to this
Yeah,
new world. And sometimes when you're in the middle, you're not either in this world and you're not in that world, but you're trying to kind of connect with both. How have you managed with that?
absolutely. Whew, it's it's a it's a battle. It's always a battle. And what something that also helps me is that, being exposed to other industries, I try to analyze other industries and then get to understand that, like, the struggles are the same. you know the struggles are the same. So it's a fight. It's a fight. We just need to keep fighting, because everywhere everybody's fighting to get wherever they want to get. So I just I've learned to adopt that mentality,
And that
that,
mindset, because you've also got that positive mindset as well, which is really, really important. And it kind of
absolutely, I mean,
kind of
mm,
helps, doesn't it?
Absolutely. I think it's something that I would encourage like a lot of artists to practice. Positivity is not always comfortable, but it just helps you to hang in there.
It really does. Gratitude, prayer, positivity, meditation,
Yeah,
all of those things have really, really helped me. I think they're really great
yeah,
techniques that you can use because it can be very challenging at times. Now, Shakil,
absolutely.
what are your major wins and successes at the moment? Now, you've come so far, you've done so much, you're in an
Mhm.
emerging market. Tell us a little bit more about some of your wins and your successes that you've achieved along your path.
Oh well. Wow. It's quite a number of them, eh? And I'm really really grateful. So ever since ever since I started working with Sony Music Publishing, I've been exposed to a whole lot of opportunities when it comes to like songwriting,
Hmm.
and a couple of maybe sync deals here and there, but mostly collaborations. And I'm also into the um what you call this the voice over industry, so
Yeah.
I also yeah so I also like copyright and produce voiceover. So yeah, I've had a couple of wins, and back in Swaziland I've won best newcomer award. That was a couple of years ago though.
Well
And then
done.
ever since that I've just been doing more like behind the scenes jobs,
Hmm.
work,
Yes.
and it's really been great, and looking at where I am right now, I can say that, I can choose from a couple of options to say, okay, this is how I want to go. So
That's
I think that's what I'm grateful for.
That's really nice that you can actually now choose where you're going rather than just saying, right, I've got to get all my stops out. I've got to make sure I make it. Now you can sit back and say, right, I got to where I want to go. Now I've got a few more choices open to me. Well
Yeah,
done.
yeah, thank you.
Really nice to hear. And what's coming up next with you? Tell us a little bit more what you've got coming up. What's going on?
Okay, so I've been working with a good friend of mine, goes by the name of Timothy.
Hmm.
We're working on a project that we hope to complete, say maybe in the middle of the year, by the middle of the year.
Okay.
I'm really looking forward to that. And there are a couple of other projects that I'm working on in terms of solo projects, like looking at releasing a couple of projects in the future.
Yeah.
And hopefully I'll have something out by the end of this year.
That's very, very exciting. Well, good luck and keep us posted on how that goes. Any more
Thank you so much.
got coming up? Any little projects you've got on the side that you're doing alongside that, or you just focusing mainly on your main projects?
Yeah, I have a couple of collaboration projects that I have coming up
Yeah.
with different artists from South Africa.
Okay.
So yeah, and well, I'm still working on that, and I'm hoping to have something ready also before the end of this.
Get some more international artists to come and do some collaborations with you, Shaquille. That'd be awesome as well. So, how could any of the listeners connect with you, find out more about your music, what's coming up next? How can they connect?
Okay. I'm on Facebook,
Yes.
Instagram, and LinkedIn. So on Facebook, I go by the name of Flameboy Universe. It's just Flameboy Universe.
Yeah.
And also on Instagram, I go by the name of Flameboy Universe.
I'll leave all the
And
links.
then on LinkedIn, it's Sakhile Mavimbela.
Thank you so much for sharing that with us. And I wish you all the best for your up and coming projects. We will be
Thank
supporting
you.
work. I will share all the links in the description below. This will be out in a few weeks' time, probably about 4 weeks' time
Mhm.
now. So I just want to say a massive thank you for coming along, sharing your expertise, talking about South Africa, because it's the first time we've had a South African guest on the show. I just want to say thank
Yeah.
you so much. You've got so much expertise, so much insight, and I just wish you all the best in the future. And I hope to speak to you again soon.
Thank you so much, Saskia. And I really appreciate the platform. And yeah, and looking forward to greater things.
It's a real pleasure. Thank you ever so much. And I've got some collaborations coming up soon. So I'll be reaching out as well. And I'll say, look, I've got a couple of these tracks. Let's see what we can do together.
Great.
So,
Absolutely. That would be amazing.
thank you ever so much. Have a great day or great weekend. And I'll speak to you soon.
Thank you. You too. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.